Hey folks, this is Mike Tango Whiskey coming at you with Hurt Feelings Report, episode number 27. If you're new to the channel, welcome. The Hurt Feelings Report is the weekly show where I go over all of the comments from the previous week and I highlight the very best insights and the very best insults from all of my viewers. It's cathartic for me. It is entertaining for everybody else. It's enjoyable. It's probably my favorite thing that I do each week. I've been doing them since the beginning of this channel about 6 months ago, and I thoroughly enjoy them. And I hope that you all do too. It helps give a little bit of insight into some of my videos where people may point out things that I got wrong or that were stupid or whatever the case may be, and gives me a chance to explain, maybe give a little bit of context and some background, or even admit when I'm wrong. So a little bit of a channel overview. So this will be episode 28. So I've done them weekly since the beginning, or close to the beginning. And currently, as of right now, I have 23,743 subscribers. What videos, just over 6 months on the channel total. What videos did I put out over the past week? For the past 2 weeks, I put out a video every day. Now, I record them and then I schedule them for release, but a video has released every day of the week so far. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Today's Friday. So I gave a channel update, just kind of overviewing the past 6 months and where I see the channel going in the next 6 months to a year. Some things that I'm trying to do there. I also canceled all subscriptions. No, not subscriptions, all memberships, because it was way too expensive. It was like, I set it at $10 because when I first started, because I didn't know any better. And then YouTube jacked it up to like $13, or Apple did. Well, I cranked it all the way down. So I canceled all of those, lost a bunch of money. So YouTube pays those people back. So my profits tank below zero for this week, I think. Then I reset it at $1 just to make it reasonable and make it more accessible to people. Monday, I did a how to get started in prepping. So I talked a little bit about beans, bullets, and Band-Aids, and gave my not new, but my evolved definition of prepping. It's evolved since then too, so I have to do another video. I did a fitness video on fitness tools to help keep you in shape. I did a video on the top 5 bags for preppers. And then today I released a video on the disappearing penny and its potential ramifications. So those are where most of the comments are, but I still get comments from videos that I posted a long time ago. So every once in a while, those are thrown in there just for good luck. Okay, I am going to start with this comment. So from Berserko1194, he says, "Dude, as soon as I found your channel about 2 months ago, I binge watched every video and kept up with all of the new ones. Now cut that other hang tab off of that Lyman gun mat." I said, thanks. I mean, that's a huge compliment to the idea that somebody's going to go watch all of the crap that I put out on YouTube. That's flattering, and I really, really appreciate that. Now, as far as the Lyman tabs, I don't know if you're the same guy that saw it last time, but these 2 little hang tabs for this Lyman gun mat, they're just for hanging it on the wall. And once you get it, you're supposed to cut them off. So one guy complained about it, so I cut one of them off and I left the other one on there. So I guess now I'm supposed to cut that off, but I think I'm gonna leave it. I think I'm gonna see how many comments I can get about this single tab here. I kind of like it. It's like a disabled mat for me now. It's got a special wartime hero vibe to it. You know what I mean? So that's where it's gonna stay, my friend. But Berserko1194, I really, really appreciate you giving me that shout out. That's pretty cool. Okay, from Lord Shamo, this is in regards to the penny video. "Mike, get a subscription to the Solari report. Listen to money and markets. You'll understand the digital control grid, what it means, how it is implemented, and how you, meaning me, are funding it. Thanks for your work, old man. I have been enjoying your talks." Excuse me? I said, how dare you? And also, thank you. So I went to look at the Solari report, and it looks pretty interesting, but it was like 30 bucks a month for a subscription. I'm pretty cheap, man. I was hoping it was just, the newsletter is free, but the Solari report is $1. I know it's only $1 a day. I get it, but maybe I'll do it. I don't know. Maybe I'll use YouTube money to do that. But the fact that that report helps me understand the markets better than the control grid, that's enticing. I have to go back. I just looked briefly, so I have to go back and look at it a little bit closer and see if it's something that I want to do. But thank you for that. Also, Patriot Zero. So Patriot Zero is another YouTuber. He's an older gentleman who has a YouTube page. And I'm going to read his comment, and then I'm going to give some context into the start of our relationship. See, he says, your honesty is commendable and so rare these days. Kudos to you. This was in regards to a clip that I put out about, I think it was about weapons, like not wanting to pretend and put gun content on YouTube when that's not really who I am. But Patriot Zero, so this is great. Thank you, Patriot Zero. I appreciate this comment, man. That means a lot to me. But I remember when you, when we first had any contact, it was because it was one of my earliest videos where I talked about compasses. You don't need a compass. And you did, it wasn't a direct response video, but it was an indirect response video. And you said, you were advising your audience, you said, don't listen to these stupid idiots out there telling you what you don't need. And I think it was specific to that compass, which is fair. Look, I like that we are now besties. I like that. I like your channel. I watch your videos. I appreciate, we should do something together, man. We should do a video or something. But I appreciate you coming to the light, to the 68%. And hopefully you stop carrying compasses. I don't know. All my compasses are up here, but that's okay. I appreciate you, man. And I said, thank you, sir. That means a lot to me. Okay, top 5 bags video. Innovative journaling. So he's a guy that I've been communicating with back and forth. Nice video. He says, I love the background, all organized, except I think you need more axes and axe heads. I don't think so, man. Arthur, this is where I keep my hatchets. So that's just my hatchets. I've got 4 hatchets up there. I've got a maul head, a hatchet head, and a sledgehammer head that I still need to hang. But down here is my pile of axes. If anybody has watched my channels, I don't need more axes. I think I probably need more space for more axes. Here's a project that I need to finish. I don't need more axes. I need to finish all the axes that I've got. I've probably got, I think my daughter counted. I think she counted 23 axes down here. Most of them are finished, but not all of them. This is a project that I'm working on right here. I keep saying that, and it just sits here every week. Hopefully this weekend I can get to that. Yeah, I don't need more axes. I need less. The only problem with refurbishing axes is nobody will pay you what you have into them. So I pay $25 for a handle, let's say $25 for a head off of eBay, and I spend 3 to 4 hours, fitting it, finishing it, hanging it, trimming the handle, all that stuff. So that's $100 in labor and $50 in supplies, and nobody pays $150 for axes. So it's a labor of love. I give them to friends as gifts sometimes, but I've had a couple people buy them but like, you're not making your money back, that's for sure. Okay, top 5 bags video. Guns and Buns says, NF Project does discuss, Nut and Fancy Project? Yeah, Nut and Fancy Project does discuss luggage bags. Also, how did you not include a fanny pack? So I responded, my OCD brain would not let me do a list of 6 things. It had to be a list of 5. It has, when I control the volume on the remote, it's in increments of 5. It's in even numbers. Well, not even numbers. It's in increments of 5. So it's at 25, 30, 35. I can't do the volume at 33, 34. Part of my OCD. I also, let's see who else does this. I also organize my colored, so I'm a jelly candy guy. I don't do chocolate, but I organize my jellied candies according to color. Starbursts, Skittles. I don't really eat Skittles anymore, but anything that's like that. Yeah, I used to eat M&Ms. I can't eat chocolate anymore, but I used to organize them according to color and then eat them. So I had one of each time I would eat a set. That's how OCD I am. So my brain wouldn't let me do a list of 6 things, but when I did that backpack video, I literally had a pile of fanny packs off to the side, and I almost included that as one of them. It's just the other ones kind of beat it out. And in my mind, I was doing a thing on bigger bags, not so much like smaller EDC bags, but yeah, it's a good point. Fanny packs definitely deserve a top 5 spot or number 6. Top 5 bag video. So a few points. So Bradwin 550 says, the courts recently ruled at a traffic stop, if they see a gun specific type of case, they can assume legally that you are armed. So this is a great point. So he goes on to talk about some other other stuff like EDC bags. That's true. So there's the plain sight doctrine. So if a cop pulls you over and they can see a weapon, then that gives them probable cause to search a vehicle or remove it for safety in terms of like a Terry stop. But there's also a ruling on and what did you call it? Specific type case. I forget the name, the rule that they use. It's got a very specific name. It's like specific use case. So if they see what looks like a gun case, it is legally allowable for them to assume that there is a weapon in there, that there's a gun in there, and then it gives them the right to look and search and do all the other things. It gives them the probable cause that there's a weapon and they can do all the things that they need to do for their safety. So, we talk about bags, we talk about gray man, but that's a really great point that Brad brings up. If you are transporting weapons and it's something that you're doing it legally, of course, but you don't want to be harassed or searched or doing any of those things, you have to know that. You have to know that. Just if you have a gun case in your car, I see preppers driving down the road. Preppers, what they drive are Toyota 4Runners, new, young, cool preppers, not like me type preppers. We would drive Suburbans if I had one, but like a Toyota Tacoma, Toyota 4Runners, right? Those are the most popular ones that I see. And what you see are the overlanding racks on the back. And what do you see on the roof? You see Pelican cases in the shape of a freaking rifle. Rifle length Pelican cases driving down the road. And I don't know, it's cool, don't get me wrong. And maybe if I had a bunch of money, I would probably do it too. But nobody's fooled by that. Everybody knows what's in there. Do you park that at your house? Like, is it just, if you go into the woods and you put is there always a rifle? I don't know. I just assume there is. I just assume that if I needed a rifle, that's where I would go to get it, right? Yeah. And legally, it's legal for cops to do that. They can assume, I'll have to look that law up, but yeah, I heard that too. So that's a really great point, Brad. So that's a reason to carry things in bags that don't look like that's what they're for, right? Top 5 bag video, outside the box, additional ideas. So Tavar7 says, outside the box ideas or mentions, garbage bags, Ziploc bags, body bags, sleeping bags, dry bags. Dry bag is a good one, actually. I think the rest are sarcastic. I know your focus was more on pack-style bags. I just wanted to volunteer to be that guy in a well-meaning way before someone else does in a snarky way. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Those are good, though. It's just, garbage bags, contractor bags, Ziploc bags, you can get those pretty readily. So it's not really something I think you would need to search for. Body bags. Can you buy I assume you can buy body bags, but that's kind of morbid. But sleeping bags is another one. That's not a bad idea for transporting stuff and gear, especially if you have to bug out quickly and you needed to throw a bunch of clothes or like pillows and blanket. A sleeping bag's not a bad idea. It's a giant sack, right? And you're probably already going to be taking that stuff with you. Dry bags are a good one too. I do have some dry bags, some pretty big ones too that I've thrifted, and I find them extremely useful. Most of the time those go with us if we're going camping or something like that in the woods, but yeah. Here is a comment in Russian, and I said exactly. So on my PC, on my laptop, I cannot translate it. On my phone, I can, but at the time, so this is my Black Fox master. He says a bunch of Russian words, and he says SHTF, and I'm exactly. I got you, Black Fox. And then he made a comment to my comment. Oh, I did. So I read this one on my phone. He said something about. So my EDC work bag video. He says, in a real SHTF, you're going to get rid of that laptop. You're going to get rid of all this, your speaker and all this other stuff. Yes, I know. that video, that bag was not an SHTF bag. It was an EDC work and get home bag. That's it. That's all that it was. And if I did have to get home, I certainly wouldn't be dragging my work laptop or my work speaker with me or my instructor kit. I'm not going to be teaching anything on my way home. So I said, it is an EDC work get home bag. You clearly did not watch the entire video or any of my other bag videos. Tourists around here end up in the HFR. So here you are, Black Fox Master. He did say he knows what he's talking about because he's from Ukraine. Okay. Right. I'm not in Ukraine right now, Black Fox. I am in the suburbs, so my bags are packed accordingly. Top 5 bags. King Nothing 86 says luggage. Lieutenant Colonel Nuttin Fancy did it. Okay, sorry. I'm sure over the course of my channel, I will repeat some ideas that someone else has touched on at some point. So, plus, Nuttin Fancy is not a bad comparison. I'm grateful for that. Prepping 101, where I give my definition of prepping. Joceleno, John Sinalo. John Sinal, John Cena, Laugh Out Loud 235. God, these names are so hard. It's like license plates. I can't read them. New preppers are sus as F. Everything was fine until now. I don't know what that means. I am sus as F? Why am I sus? Everything was fine until now, until this video, until my channel, until this year, until... I don't know what you're talking about. So I said, say more. And he never responded. So I don't know. I don't know what that means. Getting over a cold. Sorry. Coughing up my lungs out here. Plus the cold doesn't help. Stop prepping for SHTF. So this is an older video where I think I introduced the concept of Tatsi, turd on the carpet. My alchemical romance says, Mike, you are trying to rationalize fear-based thinking, which by its very nature is not rational. So SHTF has to be everything, everywhere, all at once, so to speak, to square their thinking pattern. Okay, am I trying to rationalize fear-based thinking? Isn't that all of prepping though? Like you start with a fear of something happening, and then you prep rationally to get to a place where you're no longer scared about it, or you're ready for it, where it's not fear anymore. I don't know. Fear is by its nature is not rational. Yeah, I know people. Why is fear such a bad thing? I'm not scared to admit. I'm not scared to admit that I'm scared. I think it's okay to be scared. I think it's a natural emotion. I think uncertainty and fear and drives you to some good areas. I mean, obviously it can be overdone. I don't feel like my channel does that. I don't feel like I do that. I have my moments where I'm like black-pilled, you know, and then I kind of come back the other side with some hope, and it turns into being prepared and like, yeah, I guess. But in that video, yes, most of the time, and throwing way back to that video, the way that I saw at the time, most people talking about SHTF is like, that what they were talking about was Teotihuacan, right? They were talking about the collapse, total, everywhere, all the time. Because if you think like an inch bag, right? The I'm never coming home bag, a refugee bag, or the thought that you're going to be walking around with your plate carrier and your rifle anywhere at any time. That thought assumes there's no rule of law, right? Your SHTF, most of the SHTF stuff on YouTube especially, that's what they're talking about. Because they're like, when SHTF hits, here's what you're going to need. They're describing Book of Eli. They're describing, Comet, zombies, the whole thing. I don't think I was too far off in that video. And that video did very well, and it seemed to strike a chord with a lot of people. So I feel like I was on point with that. Grandpa7278 says, question, how many people are awake? For your information, any number above 5%, I will seriously question. So I responded 5.1%. A couple people jumped in to defend me. Yeah, oh, that was 3AD Scout commenting on there. I kind of chirped back at him. I'm gonna get rid of my comment because he's a buddy of mine, and I thought I was responding to the original guy. Yeah, what percentage of the population is awake? I think it's 5%. I mean, I talk a lot about COVID, and that's what I saw in COVID. And 5% is generous. I think it's closer to 2 or 3%. But you know what matters more than who's awake? It's who will have the courage when the time comes to stand. Being awake and then still complying. I don't know. To me, that's kind of gross. That's the grosser than the other way around. But okay, I talked about my fitness. I did a fitness clip. I don't know I think it was from a video, from my fitness video. Corey Moyers says, why do people fantasize, he spelled fantasize wrong, about bugging out when in reality, everyone will want to hunker down? Are city people too dumb to hunt and fish? I am not fantasizing about bugging out. I think in that clip, I said, you know, if you have a 50-pound pack, how are you going to walk? If you can't carry it, you know, you're not going to be any good. Maybe he was supporting me. I don't know. I said tourists around here end up in the hurt feelings report, but now that I'm rereading this, but are city people too dumb to hunt and fish? Probably. Most of us. I go hunting pretty much every year, and I never see anything. I never hear anything, and I certainly have never taken a shot with a bow or a rifle at anything here in Washington. I killed a caribou on the run with a longbow like 20 years ago, but that was a long time. I still have the longbow. It's up here. But yeah, I think we are. I think we are too. No, I wouldn't say dumb. We're just not capable of hunting and fishing in a way that would sustain us. Most people are not. You're kind of right. Fitness short, same thing. Mark Longry 426 says, fit doesn't mean lean. Fit does not mean lean. So can you be fit without being lean? Everybody who's lean is fit. Is that true? Yeah, maybe he's right. Maybe he's got a point. I've seen some guys that are not, I'm not talking about like cut, like six pack. I've seen some guys that aren't like ripped, but they're still fit. They're strong. They're capable. Yeah, you might be right. How about this? Fit doesn't always mean lean. Usually fit means lean though. When you see somebody who's lean and like muscular and they're fit. I mean, they're fit. That's why being buff is so powerful, because when you see somebody who is muscular, when you see somebody who's jacked, you biologically, you instinctually know the work that it took to get there. Now, some guys are just cut. Some guys are just skinny cut. And then a lot of times because I've been in the gym for a long time, I'm not a gym bro, but I've seen gym bros discount naturally skinny people. It's like, yeah, but you're skinny. You have a high metabolism. But when you see somebody who is buff, who's jacked, you know what it took to get there. You know it was months and months, probably years of consistency and dedication and repetition and dreariness and the pushing weight over and over and over and over and over and over. You know it because that's what it takes to be jacked, right? That's why muscles command respect. When you see somebody who is on purpose in shape, which is everybody who's in shape for the most part, you understand what it took to get there. It commands respect like that. It's inherent. It's biological. There's nothing we can do about that. That's why we go, oh, he's on roids. I'm like, well, he's also jacked, so I don't know. Hope is not a plan. I think in that one I talked about adapting. This guy says, Aries Bird says, revolt is the only answer. When you see war coming, when it breaks out and you are told that they will rule your city next, it's just going to happen. It's your kid's future. I don't know who says that, but he's saying someone's going to say that. Is your entire plan to just roll over and adapt? Do everything you can to stop AI from taking over everything. I get that. But in between now and AI apocalypse, like what? I have to keep a job in the meantime, right? I have to coach people on how to be leaders in an organization. I have to have conversations with my kid about what they're going to go to school and study. Like, can I tell my kids, my 6-year-old, hey, I can't wait for you to start college in 10 years, and you should do what you love in college and then get a good job. That's burying your head in the sand and not adapting. I'm not necessarily saying embrace AI and all it is and all that, but it's kind of like social media. Social media is gross and it hurts people and it's fake. It's not real relationships, right? Social media, the studies are out there. The science is out, is in on this. Like, it is bad for you. Social media is bad for you. Our addiction to our phones, our addiction to clicks and those dopamine hits and the likes and the attention and the fame, and it's bad for us. And yet here I am, right? Trying to use this tool to tip the scales and provide me the means to get the resources that I need to prepare my family. I know, man. I know. I feel like I'm dancing with the devil, you know, sometimes with this stuff. Like, but if I don't adapt, find a way to adapt to the coming world, whether that's AI or otherwise. I mean, survival is about adaptation. It's about adapting, right? Not adaption, adoption, adapting. Adapting. Prepping is adapting. I'm going to modify my definition again. I left out adapting. If you're not adapting, you're dying. I mean, it's as simple as that. You have to find a way to adapt. All of prepping is adapting, isn't it? I mean, isn't it? So when you're outside in the cold, how do you adapt? If you haven't like built your body up to withstand that cold, then you put more clothing on to keep yourself warm, right? Yeah. You lose power. How do you adapt and provide light and heat and warmth and a way to cook? All of prepping is adapting. So I'm not talking about rolling over. It's a balance between the two. And we have to find our way. We have to navigate that, man. It's going to be hard, but yeah. Prepping 101, where I gave my new definition, the recce's. Bravo Whiskey says, the first part of prepping is to memorize a ton of acronyms. Those acronyms spell out other acronyms that stand for important terminology, which in turn tells you useful topics and categories to consider. From there, each category is filled with information and techniques. Most of it is BS or high level and beyond the needs of average citizens. Laughy face emoji. I think Bravo Whiskey is a fan of mine. He's not a tourist. I love this comment. He's kind of right. I tend to think in threes and I think in acronyms, and I keep making up new acronyms for the prepping community to reject and memorize. I don't know. But I said, hey, man, I'm just doing my part. Just adding to the lexicon. Just building out the taxonomy. Same thing. So prepping definition, prepping 101. Dude, this is the reason I like your channel. I'm finding myself saying, what would Mike Tango Whiskey do? Like, you're my guru. Please don't put me in the HFR. I said, this comment must make it into the HFR, but I will leave your name out. So, dude, yeah, thank you for that comment. What would Mike Tango Whiskey do? Oh, shoot. That's funny. That is funny. I am freezing my butt off out here. I feel like I need a shot of bourbon. Okay, Nyctophile X13. Nyctophile 13. So my prepping definition. I mean, great info, no doubt, but maybe don't name your new pet prepper concept with the same exact pronunciation as something else preppers are likely to come across on YouTube. Recce, R-E-C-C-E, which is short for reconnaissance or reconnoitering. My my acronym was REKE, right? Resources, knowledge, and experience. Quite a few prepper survival folks also use it to describe their gear loadout, a recce bag or recce rifle. Adding confusion to a topic is never the right way to go. Well, I appreciate you, Nyctophile. I wasn't trying to add confusion to a current topic. I was trying to cast light onto a new topic. Recce loadouts and recce rifles and recce. I know it was cool for about 5 years, but it's on its way out, number one. And number two, it was never realistic, especially for the 68%er. So, yeah, I'll do what I want, okay? Warrior 21 Poet says, Prepping 101, same thing. He lists recce 3 times. He goes, resources, energy, karate, and eggs. Rifles, emergency skills, killer hair, Eminem's latest album. Resources, energy, kitty cats, everything else. I'm doing that wrong. Resources, energy, kitty cats, everything else, recce. Those are great. I like resources, energy, karate, and eggs. That should be a video. I might make that in a video. Just like dead serious, talking about karate and eggs. If you don't know karate, then... same video, prepping my resources, knowledge, and experience. Smedley Butler says, some of the spare parts supply management I embraced for my Glock got me thinking that, at the very least, if you know or are reasonably sure your maintenance schedule for any vehicle or tool will require some small and inexpensive supply for the next few years, there's no harm in buying it all now. Yeah, this is a really great point. So, most of my boomsticks I have built myself. And one of the things, there's something interesting that they sell out there. If you're into building like AR lowers, there's one spring. I think it's near the back of the 80% lower. It's been a hot minute. It's near the back of the lower, not an 80%, but a completed lower. And you're dropping this pin in. Is it the selector switch or the safety? It's either selector switch, maybe it's the safety, which is the same thing. But there's this little spring that if you don't get it right, that sucker shoots out and it's gone forever. It vanishes into another realm. It's just gone. It is gone forever. And there's like 5 of these things somewhere in the ether realm inside of my house. So what they sell they call them oops kits. It's a little set, it's a little kit of springs, extra springs, if you are building or rebuilding your lower or putting one together. And they're not that expensive. They're like $10 sometimes you can find them for. You can find them for under $10. Usually they're like $12. But little parts kits like that can be absolutely essential. Or a rebuild parts kit for, let's say, my brain says charging handle. That's not what it is, though. The control group. It's escaping me. But the little extra pins and the little extra springs and all that kind of stuff, those are important. And you think along this, not just weapons, but you think along the same lines of vehicles. I think I saw something, Wrangler Star did it, where he had like oil and oil filters and belts and all the things, all the regular type scheduled maintenance stuff that you would see. It's a good idea to start, while you can get that stuff now, it's a really good idea to do that. My fitness for 68%ers video, Glenn Koenig, he's my original member. He's number one member. He says, a proper keto or carnivore diet will give you more positive results than any fitness plan. This is true. So I love being in shape, but really, if you just ate right, if you just mastered what you eat, it would solve 80% of like the obesity issues, like for most people, okay, the vast majority of people. If you just learn how to eat real food, good food, and mastered your eating, and you weren't eating all this crap, this sugar and carbs and crap in a box and corn syrup and all the crap that they feed us, that they convince us is food, you would be on your way to being fit. Now, you might not be strong, you might not be super fast, but you wouldn't be obese. And the vast majority, I think, of fit problems or health problems in this country come from obesity. And I think it comes from what we eat, to be honest with you. So where to start? Preppy 101. Mike Tango Whiskey, a members only YouTube live training for radios may be a cool idea. People could ask questions in the chat about their specific situation. Then if it works out, other types of YouTube training, a few lives a year. So this is by C Spectre. So yes, lives for members. I love that. And I probably, so I am looking for ways to monetize this channel. Now, what I mean by that is beyond AdSense. So I'm trying to master the little buttons and all the stuff behind the scenes to get the maximum, not the maximum amount of views or even subscribers, but the maximum amount of return for each video. So I'm working on getting smart about that because it's just a knowledge game. But I'm also looking at other ways to monetize outside of AdSense. And one of the ways, I am a trainer by trade. This is what I do in real life. It's what I do for my paycheck. I train people on all kinds of stuff. So doing lives for my members that are training based, like training something, or eventually if down the road, if I start offering like cohorts, like ongoing cohorts, training classes where I do either Zoom, where I do lives with other people, but Zooms where I can interact with people, put a cap on the class, teach a certain thing, you know, like maybe it's a prepping basics, or maybe it's a 4-week course on this one thing. Maybe it's a 4-week course on something else. As this channel grows and I look for ways to monetize, that is probably the way that I'm going to go, because that's what I already do. That's where my strength is. That's where my training is. That's where my education is. So yes, thank you, C Spectre. Now, you didn't give me the idea, but you saying this confirms what I've been thinking and feeling probably over the past month as what else do I want to do with this channel? Put out videos, get views, yeah, do all that stuff. But really the successful channels, there are small channels that can produce income, like a livable income for people where this is all they do. And that is one of my goals for the channel. So, BK Turley says, I took a sip of coffee for the same video, because in that Prepping 101, my definition video, I did a lot of shoulding. I should all over the place. I should it over everybody. I was like, you should, you must, you need to. And I usually don't do that in my videos. I went back and watched it and I was like, this guy's right. So Turley's right. He's a great critic of mine. He says, I took a sip of coffee every time I heard an imperative statement in this video. You have to, you need to, you must. And now I can see the sounds. And I said, I was definitely shooting all over everybody. Yeah, I felt passionate about that. I think, you know, having the resources, having the knowledge about those resources, and then getting the experience with those, I think it's important. That's what prepping is. But yeah, I did do a lot of finger wagging dad. That was like a dad talk, you know? Backroads Official talked about using his Baofeng for a long ways, like over 100 miles, right, on GMS repeaters. Buschenmacher says he's a friend of mine. Buschenmacher, me and Buschenmacher are friends. He sent me some stuff. Just remember, those repeaters will be down pretty quick in a situation. Yeah, so with radio, when it comes to radio, repeaters will be down. That is true, okay? But so you won't necessarily be able to rely on repeaters. Now, in an EMP and everything's fried, it won't matter. But if you are on, let's pretend this is 100 miles away from this one, and you're on a mountaintop and you have line of sight, your transmission can get through. It can, depending on the weather and all that kind of stuff. This is an 8 watt. This is an 8 watt. That transmission could transmit and be received over here and vice versa, if the conditions are right. Because nothing really stops those radio waves, right? As long as line of sight is king. And if you go back and watch my radio video, but Buschenmacher knows what he's talking about here. So he talks about getting your HF radio and getting antennas up high and those kind of things. Yeah. I have not gotten into HF yet. I I would like to. It's just the radios are more expensive, but I heard you can reach further. Guys on HF are talking to people in other countries, which is kind of cool. Fitness, I talked about fitness, and Barry last name says, these preppers don't understand. When it all goes down so fast, you won't have anywhere to go. Babylon will fall in 1 hour. Plus, those who seek to save their lives will lose it and accept the mark. These dudes crack me up. With AI and total global control in every soul, there's only 2 ways out of here when that happens. He says, GG. What's GG? Good God? These preppers don't understand how fast it will go down. Babylon will fall in an hour. Is that scripture? That sounds like scripture to me. Because I know seek to save their life, lose it. I get that. I know those quotes, Mark and Luke, and they're Jesus talking. But will Babylon fall in an hour? Does it say that in Revelation? I'm not familiar with that, but yeah, will it happen that quick? Maybe. You might be right, old Barry here. You're scaring me, Barry. You're fear-mongering. Stop fear-mongering me. Is that a verb? To fear-monger? Prepper who doesn't operate. Yeah, I talked about, I think that was about my backpacks, like not having any. I have operator backpacks. I just don't think they're very useful. Having great observational skills and being proactively vigilant will address 95% of all contingencies for the average person. This should be the first area of focus for anyone. That's from Dreb 222. I think he's right. I think he's right. Yeah, not being where the crazy parts are, right? Not being in those places. Yeah, paying attention to what's going on around you and removing yourself from that situation. If you inject yourself into situations, there's consequences to that, good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, that's just the truth. We saw some of that recently. I think back to like Kyle Rittenhouse. I remember when that was like during COVID. Was that the COVID riots where he like drove over to the next state and with a weapon and went to like guard a gas station that wasn't. I was like, was that his gas station? Did the owner like ask him to come over there? Was he invited? Was he? He kind of put himself in that situation. Now, in that moment where he was found innocent, right? In that moment where that thing happened, I think in that moment that was a justified self-defense situation. But part of me, like if that was my son, I'd be like, what were you doing over there? Whose gas did? Like when Jesus says, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. That's true. I don't even think he was saying necessarily it was good or bad. Like in that moment in the garden when he told that to Peter, his point to Peter was, this is not the time. So the implication is there is a time and a place to do that, to live by the sword. And we're all going to end up there at some point, I think. But, I guess each of us have to decide that for ourselves. Like we have to figure that out for ourselves. But Gideon Lefian, that's a hard name to read. He says, why did you take down the wildfire story? It was the first one the YouTube algorithm showed me and introduced me to your channel. Yeah, I took down my fire bug out video. I need to repost it. A lot of people came to my channel through that video, which I'm grateful for. But the couple people who found out like exactly where I live was from that video. I drew my map too well. So I gave up some personally identifiable information in that video. And I got some great emails letting me know about the vulnerabilities there, and I got a couple concerning emails. So I had to take it down. But I am going to reshoot that. I need to retell that story because it's a great one. It's kind of one of my first big videos. Ginger Man, this is on my update for my channel. You love your 3 words that have the same letter, don't you? So I'll give you my 3 H's of Mike Tango Whiskey: humility, honesty, and humor. Ginger Man, you're going to make me get emotional. Not really, but I should get emotional. That's a great comment, man. Thank you. That might make it into my thumbnail, I think. Humility, honesty. Maybe my thumbnail and my title today will be nothing but good. It'll just be positive stuff. Yeah, Arthur from Innovative Journaling, he sent me an email that had some really great stuff in it, so I might put that in there too. Preparing for the coming fight, like the fight's coming. Surprised to see, A.O. Bussett says, surprised to see all of the religious fanaticism and superstition on here. I thought this might be a more practical channel followed by practical people, but I guess not. Once you realize religion is the ultimate means of control and tyranny, you will never go back. And I said, hey, fanatic here, religiosity and practicality are not diametrically opposed to one another. Faith is my greatest source of freedom. So he says, religious hierarchies conditions followers to accept facts and doctrine on faith alone. So the sheep are conditioned to do as they are told, which is, I suspect, exactly why most of the folks commenting here will ultimately do. Really a shame. A real shame, actually. Okay, religious hierarchy conditions followers. Yep, I understand that. I am well versed in my faith and a lot of other faiths, actually. So, conditions followers to accept facts and doctrine on faith alone. Yeah, that's what faith is. Faith is believing without having seen, right? Faith is the evidence of things hoped for, or the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of things not seen. Once you see it, it's not based on faith anymore. So I understand faith. I know what it is. I know that faith is the condition that God designed us to exist in. I know that in this broken, fallen world where we don't see God, we don't hear him, he feels far away, and all we see is death and struggle and misery, that it's hard to believe. But that's what faith is. It's designed that way on purpose. This is like, this life is like Navy SEAL training. During buds, they keep telling them, like during Hell Week, they don't know when the day ends. Like there's no end to the day, right? They have this hope that it will end, and they keep fighting. They keep doing what they're supposed to do, even though the end, they don't know, it's not in sight, right? You ever been hiking and you go over like these, what are they called, fake summits, where you come up to the summit and it's not the summit? God puts us in a position to believe by faith. And I know some people don't like that. I know some people think that's bad. But faith is the condition of all humanity. All humans live by faith. You just have a different object of your faith, right? Every time you get in your car and you go to pump the brakes when you're driving down the road, you're operating by faith. Science to a large extent is faith-based. There are so many giant leaps in science where you have to kind of assume what's in the void, like dark matter and all these other concepts. There's a lot of everywhere you look, there's faith, man. Humanity is faith. There's a faith-shaped hole in all of us, and God designed us that way, and it's beautiful. I love it. I want my children to operate by faith. I want my children to believe me when I tell them something. I want them to trust and to know and to believe my words, what I tell them, and I want it to bring them comfort, and I want it to bring them joy, and I want them to know that I am going to do what I said. Yeah, faith is great, man. I suspect that you think you don't live by faith, that you're practical and you live by reason, but I'm a former atheist, so I understand believing by what you see. I know that world well, and I now that I'm not an atheist, I really don't believe in atheism anymore. I think atheism is more of a denial, but that's just me. That's my personal, so religion, I know religion, organized religion has done a lot of damage over the years, but I don't know. My relationship with God, I don't really see it fitting into that same paradigm. So my definition of prepping, Curious Nobody says, Mike Tango Whiskey, still waiting on the video breaking down when and why you started prepping. Was it a single event, a period of time, or just aging into the mindset? Would love to watch this one. All right, Curious. God, quit bugging me. Let's see. My story. I redid my list. So it's on the list, okay? God, it's just not that exciting of a story. I don't even think it was like a moment in time. I think it was gradual. I just kind of ended up there. I'll think about it though. If I can tell it in a way that's interesting, then I'll do that. But it might be really boring. Perfect Storm, GW5436 says, collect gold, Bitcoin. Yes, that'll make a house, repair steel infrastructure or machines, or feed anybody. Oh, he's being snarky. Okay. The One World string pullers have said many times from Davos they will control what precious metals and pretend value is worth in the future. It's all a scam that you fall for. You won't buy a box of shotgun shells with an ounce ingot. But good luck to you all. Don't come trading useless junk to me when you've got nothing. I don't know, these people are fun. Well, that's the thing about YouTube. Like, people watch one of your videos and they comment about your philosophy. And your philosophy really is kind of developed and built out over the series of dozens of videos. Or I have like 250 videos out, 265 videos. So I am learning that along the way as well. But he says this as if my only advice is to go buy gold and Bitcoin, like hard assets. No, that specific advice was to the financial collapse, or the kind of the financial reset that is likely to happen soon in the next couple of years. So hard assets are going to help you get through that. They're going to help you not lose your shirt. I don't have any Bitcoin. I don't even have any gold. I focus on lesser metals for the most part, right? But silver, copper, lead, I do all of those things. The answer isn't this or that, or yes or no. It's yes and yes. It's yes to both. You don't put all of your eggs in one basket. I know that I'm not going to use Bitcoin to buy a loaf of bread. I have other strategies to get that done if the time comes. So 80% Tatsi, 20% SHTF, my friend. Fitness being the first prep. Plot twist. If we ever get to the point where preppers are right, the prep won't even matter. You would be better off dead. Yeah. I know what he's saying. Like, if things get really, really bad, your stuff won't matter anyway. I know. That's kind of a black-pilled view, but I understand what you're saying. Talked about my bags. Todd Sickinger says, women care about bags. Men care about the equipment and tools we need to get the job done. We would carry them in an old jock strap as long as we'd have the equipment and the tools we need. I said, how dare you? My bag and organization issues came from the service. Thank you for your service. How dare you? Yeah, you could use grocery bags to carry your crap around, right? There are lesser bags to do it, but I don't know. I think I learned that in the military, where a really good backpack. I learned to appreciate a really good bag and having my stuff like organized, pockets and kits, and yeah, it's a sickness for sure. So same little short where I said I have assault packs and those things, but I won't be assaulting anything. Chris from Wasteland by Wednesday said, what I heard was I won't be assaulting. SALTINE. I will not be assaulting. I will not be assaulting. I won't be assaulting anything. I won't be assaulting. And Schmuckatelli heard the same thing. I said, t-shirt idea. I called it. Definitely don't call him a cracker. Oh, shoot. It looks like, I hope, am I going to be able to scroll down here? My internet just turned off. Uh-oh. Hold on here. Okay, this is only the second cut in my channel's history. My internet went out, so I couldn't scroll anymore, so I had to stop the video, turn the internet on, and then... So, Wahoo Tech, he's the gentleman who runs it's a newer prepping website, so he sent me a few things, actually. So, the Sabotage Manual, which I still have to review. He says, thanks for the shout out. I'm looking for other great manuals to write a modernized version of. There are tons of great military manuals, but I'm trying to dig up the ones with good civilian 68% type applicability. Yeah, I love that. I love taking older manuals and like trying to flip them with a modern context to them. That's a really great idea. And I hope you continue it, my friend. I might do if you see this, you and I should hook up. Like, I know you're a smaller website, but it's early on. My channel's early on. Maybe we should link up like an affiliate thing or something. I'd love to do that. I like what you're doing on your website. So I don't know if you've thought about that at all, but yeah, I'd like to do that. Do you even prep? Zillennial Prepper says, hey Mike, any suggestions on how to build your channel? I just started and am looking to gain some traction. Love your content, brother. Thanks. I checked out this guy's channel. Good stuff. I am by no means an expert, but I would be more than willing to share the things I've learned so far. He says, thanks. That means a ton. Zillennial Prepper. Prepper email. Okay. So I tried to give him my email. I don't think I did it right though. So this is kind of something that I might get into. I might get into like this guy's asking me for some advice on his channel. I got an email today from somebody too who is starting a channel, and he asked my opinion, and I threw some ideas at him on like what to name his channel. But that's really fun for me. Ideas come pretty easily to me. And if I could help people do that, that'd be fun. I love that. I love that stuff. So I am going to respond to this Zillennial Prepper guy with my email. That's what I was trying to do. I don't know what I said here. I said at Zillennial Prepper email instead of putting my email on there, but I will, I'll find you. I'll find you. Wasteland by Wednesday says, even as a doomsday prepper, as I am, my go-to rifle is a Ruger Scout. Lots of preppers get into all sorts of Minuteman stuff, but there's no future I imagine why I'm out slinging Full Metal Jacket downrange in volume or kicking doors or clearing rooms with my old arse. I said, usually I am sounding like you, Chris, but now you sound like me. I feel the same. Full kit, breaking contact at 50? Nope. Yeah, nope is right. Yeah, that's a great 68%er comment. That's kind of what started my channel. I was like, I won't be doing any of that. Some guy said, I'm new to the channel. Why the hate on the compass? Yeah, Turtle 2 gave him a great explanation, so. 3AD Scout. He watched an old video of mine, The Truths That Prepper Don't Admit. That was like a video from day 2, I think. Yeah, I was super stressed out in that video. He's like, you look more relaxed now. But he makes the point, like, people, like I said, prepping was fear-based. That some of prepping was fear-based in that video, that old video. I still kind of stand by that, but he says the way people used to live, like more resilient, 1700s, 1800s, even though the out west for the most part, would they consider that fear? No, it was just the way that they live. I agree with that point. I think now, you know, because we're so inept and so incapable, everything scares the crap out of us, you know. Let's see, membership. I canceled all my memberships. Someone says, Nunya9876 says, sounds like $1 scam to me. I said, how so? Also, how dare you? What does that mean? I went from $10 to $1 and now I'm scamming? I don't understand that comment. I feel like I'm not scamming. It was the lowest price they would let me set. What are you whining about? Mark's Adventure says, I talk about fitness. I said something about bugging out, like if you can't carry your bug out bag, but Mark makes the point again, which I've made on my channel quite a bit too. Depending on your circumstances, bugging out is potentially the wrong choice. Fit or not, your choice to leave and defend something for some romantic notion of becoming John Rambo is unfeasible logistically. Yeah, I understand many males are inner macho. They want to reveal their inner macho self. Yeah, Mark, I grew up in the 80s, man. So I grew up on Rambo movies, and I completely get the romantic notion that it brings. Someone asked, the Hatchet 2 says, hey, Mike, do you have a Rumble channel? Have you considered uploading on that platform? So I have not. I've thought about it because I've heard of people, like if their YouTube channel gets nuked. Oh, my back is starting to hurt. If their YouTube channel gets nuked, that they can they can back everything up on Rumble. So I'm interested in doing that. He said you can put spicy stuff over there. There's not as much policing over on that platform. Hurt Feelings Report 27, Ben Deleted says, when the nurses are the only patients, are the only people patients see carrying out the orders of the system, then that's where the pushback goes. I found Mike Tango Whiskey's analysis and advice spot on and helpful. It's not the patient's burden to be the path of least resistance for nurses faced with pressure from upstream that compromises patient care. Yup. Yes, exactly. You said that better than I did, sir. Yeah, agents of the state or agents of the system, whoever they may be, whatever letters they have, whatever part of the system that, they're just doing their job. I get all that, but you're the point person, man. You're the one enforcing the rules on me if they're BS and they're nonsense, and you can expect some pushback from me and my family anyway. So fitness, it's not just physically fit. You need to be able to do things your morals won't agree with. In other words, you can't have morals. I assume they're talking about like SHTF, right? You will have to prioritize your safety and survival over all else because everyone else will. Yeah, he got some pushback in here. A bunch of people jumped in here and said some stuff. Man, some people, I didn't notice this. Some people, it devolved into insults, of course, but so I think, let's say in a true SHTF situation, I think you will see that very quickly. Like we talk about marauders and like roving bands of gang, like Book of Eli type stuff. And I think if it gets bad enough, most people will devolve to their, to their animalistic tendencies. We are sinful, fallen creatures. And I think the thin social contract, the veneer of society collapses pretty quickly. I've heard 3 days, I've heard a week without power, I've heard 2, whatever the time frame is. Yeah, you will see ugly. So should you be able to get ugly? Can you have morals and do ugly? I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know. Like you're definitely going to have to be violent, be capable and willing to execute violence in defense. Maybe the boundary is defense versus offense. Is he saying so? Defense, I don't feel like you're compromising your morals. If you're defending you or your family or others, if you're going on the offense, maybe that's where that's immoral, I don't know, man. Yeah, if things got really bad, I mean, you would obviously see some really horrible stuff. That's why I hope we don't get to that point. But I got to read the rest of these comments, though. People are kind of lighting them up. But I'm not sure he's wrong. I'm not sure he's wrong. I'll tell you that. I'm not sure he's wrong, unfortunately. And let me say this too. Like I think most people are not capable of the things that might be required to survive, right? I think that's an accurate statement. I think most people are not capable of the things that are going to be required if survival is their priority. Yeah. Violence and chaos is the default in history. This warm, soft time that we're in now is the exception. When I canceled all of the memberships and I did it at 99 cents, Turtle2 says, anything to get more pennies, eh? I hope the search for coins goes well. And I said I should require people to pay me in pennies. Like, to be a member, you have to send me 99 pennies. Copper pennies, of course. But anyway, I think I'm approaching 7 days here. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this episode of the Hurt Feelings Report. I appreciate you tuning in if you made it all the way to the end of this, even through my cut. But my old time is gone, so now I'm at 11 minutes, so I don't know how long I went. It must have been close to an hour. But anyway, I've got some great videos coming out this week. I'm excited about doing them, if I can get them shot this weekend. I'm already a little bit behind the curve. My wife stole my whole day. She took all my time today, so I got to figure out something. But I'll get it done. I appreciate you all, and hopefully you're seeing this first thing in the morning. I shoot it late at night on Friday so I can get it posted so people can wake up on Saturday to the Hurt Feelings Report and, I don't know, sip your coffee and do whatever it is you do and listen to this. But I appreciate you all. You guys know that I love you like a... here's what I love you like. I love you like this little Baofeng radio. It was one of the first ones I got. You can't transmit on it. All you can do is receive. But it's red. And see how it's shiny? So I love this little radio. And I keep it over there on the rack. I keep it charged, even though it's not really going to serve much purpose. It can still receive, I guess. But in a pinch, I don't know. I can't get rid of it. That's how I love you guys. I love you like this little radio. So this is Mike Tango Whiskey, and I'm all clear.